But let me welcome in Dharmesh Kant, Head Retail Research at IndiaNivesh. Dharmesh, good morning and welcome to the show. Let my first question come to you on an NMDC as well, because the Karnataka government, as we know, has withdrawn the approval that was granted to NMDC with regards to where renewing the mining lease of the Donimalai mines is concerned. Now, taking this into consideration, the possible contenders for this mine being a merchant mine can be either the likes of a Vedanta or Rungta, or steel producers like JSW Steel, Kalyani Steel. How big a negative is this for NMDC, and do you see value emerging on any of these merchant miners or steel producers?
Yeah, good morning. First of all, as far as NMDC is concerned, around 15 to 17% of the top line will get eroded because of this, and same will translate to the bottom line. And the fate of other, mining leases which are up for renewal may have the same fate going forward, because the catchment here is the fiscal of be it state government or central government is in a complete dire state. So all of them needs money. At the same time, higher iron ore prices will lead to higher input cost for steel manufacturers, and that in turn will be inflationary in nature, and the demand from the economy right now is not there as far as private capex is concerned. So government has to push it. Eventually, if you see it, it's the government who would be again paying for higher steel prices, though they are earning on the state count. So I fail to understand how does this maths work out for the government. So this does not set a good precedent for NMDC for sure. At the same time, other companies would be buying for it. They would also have a higher input cost, because it would the lease rentals would be much higher. So it's an open box as of now, but for NMDC per se, it's a big negative, and I think the selling pressure will continue, because next up on the cards is the Chhattisgarh mine. So if the same freight is out there, so further selling will be there. So as of now, I mean, investors or traders should not be buying NMDC.
Very rightly pointed out, Dharmesh, because the Kumaraswamy mine, if I am not mistaken, is up for renewal in October 2022, and as you mentioned with regards to the Chhattisgarh mine as well, which is up for renewal in 2022, and this clearly actually poses a question on the business model of all the PSU mining companies as well, because it's not only NMDC that could be impacted. You have other companies like probably a SAIL, a NALCO, or even a MOIL, and other PSUs that actually go ahead and have captive mineral blocks other than coal, lignite, that are governed by the MMRDA Act, could be offered for e-auction once they are due for renewal. So this is going to be a double whammy situation for all these companies as well, once a decision has been taken on these ones. But Manish, coming to you, any other trades that you are identifying taking pre-open into consideration right now?
In yesterday's trading session, we have seen an aggressive short covering in Concor Container Corporation. Overall, if you see it, the stock has fallen from 565 odd levels to 470 odd levels. But right now, currently stock is on a double bottom on daily charts. So short covering rally is already started, and this rally can be extended up to 520 odd levels. So Container Corporation can be a very good buy at current levels with a stop loss at 460 and for a short term target from 520.
Right, so that's with regards to Container Corp. Good momentum coming in on that counter. In fact, we have rates which have settled in. Nifty 50 a pretty flattish move, but we're still above that 11,000 mark. Bank Nifty as well, a marginal uptick of around 35 to 40 points is what pre-open is indicating. Let's quickly take a strategy on the financial names. SBI, IndusInd Bank, Axis, HDFC. These are the ones who are looking to be the contributors today. Especially with regards to where an SBI is concerned, Amar, what would your view be? Because yesterday's session there was some bit of pressure. PSUs were down and about. Any buy recommendation at current levels on an SBI?
Yeah, looking at SBI, what we are seeing is that the short term as well as the intermediate term trend for SBI remains negative, and even on the monthly charts, the stock has taken out some crucial support zones. So I would say that on the downside now, SBI has got some support coming around 275 odd levels. So I would say rather wait for SBI to consolidate, because the daily charts clearly shows that there is some selling pressure, and till the time we don't see the stock sustaining above 290, 93 odd levels, I would say the stock could consolidate. So one should wait for some consolidation in SBI for at least for a couple of days, and a major rally is only above 300 levels.
Right, major rally only above to 300 levels is what is seen with regards to SBI. Some bit of consolidation that could be on the anvil. Very interestingly, Eicher Motors, which was ruling under pressure yesterday, has caught up today. In fact, pre-open is indicating Eicher Motors as the top gainer in terms of Nifty 50. Maruti is also seeing gains of almost 0.5%. So there is that positive momentum on that front. Dharmesh, coming to you with regards to where the auto majors are concerned. Currently, if you go to see in terms of valuations, we are still at a PE of around 15 to 15.5 times in terms of the auto index as a whole. In the last decade, we've seen lows of almost around 8.5 times in terms of valuation. How much more room is there to go as low as 8.5 times? Or do you think valuations will find support at the current juncture and there is a possibility of a bounce back from here on?
See, these valuation multiples are a relative number and it changes with time. So as of now, the type of downturn which we are seeing, I don't think the entire numbers have been discounted. Going forward, this festive season will again see a slowdown, and though it is coming on a low base effect, still you will have a further de-rating happening in most of the stocks. So what has helped automobiles post a kind of a bump up in yesterday's trading session was the fact that government is now going lenient on the push of EV vehicles. If that is the scenario, one may have a trade playing out, but I don't think numbers are going to change dramatically. I mean, growth numbers are not going to come very soon. If you are looking at automobiles just from a trading perspective, select buys can be at the entry level segment. That is, Maruti is a good option on the four-wheeler front, and in the two-wheeler front, I think Hero MotoCorp. Barring them, rest should be avoided. Even if there is a bump up, you can play with technicals, but I don't think it merits an investment buy as of now. A lot of changes are there for automobiles to face, and this will be detrimental to all the companies out there.
Right, so that's with regards to where the auto names are concerned as we speak. But let's just quickly pull up a couple of other stocks which are up in trade. Sangam India from the small cap space, Munjal Auto indicating a good up move, Eros International, Coffee Day Enterprise, GM Breweries, United Breweries, both these counters are seeing smart up moves. Let's just pull up both these companies as well. Manish, GM Breweries as well as United Breweries, both these stocks indicating gains of almost around 2 to 5% in trade. Any trade that emerges?
United Breweries look much better, and if you see 1330 is a very good support in UBL, and we may see a bounce back in the stock around till 1380 to 1390. So for a short term traders, UBL is a very good buy with a stop loss at 1300, and for a short term target around 1380 to 1390.
Right, so that's with regards to United Breweries, a call that's coming in on that counter. CG Power, let's pull up that one on the screens. It's still indicating that 20% downtick. Capacity Infra as well, a 13% downtick is what we're seeing. Both these counters were trading under pressure in yesterday's day of trade as well. And with regards to Capacity Infra, the story that we were picking up is with regards to where IT rates at Oberoi Realty go. Let's pull up that one on the screens as well, and that actually put pressure on both these stocks. That stock is down almost 1%. Amar, let me come to you with CG Power as well as Capacity Infra. Any short calls coming in on both these counters for today's day as well?
I would say that I would avoid CG Power and also the other stock which you mentioned. I wouldn't really go into them.
Okay, so no call coming in on these counters as well. We're just a minute away from pre-open, but let's just take a quick call with regards to Dr. Reddy's once again. Manish, Dr. Reddy's pre-open indicating a 2% downtick. Any quick strategy?
Dr. Reddy, if you see from last 1 week, there is aggressive shorts around 2600 odd levels, and once it break 2500, then we will see a panic selling in the stock. So any bounce back around 2520 to 2550 can be a very good shot with a stop loss at 2570, and for a positional target of around 2400. So we may see another 100 to 150 point falls in Dr. Reddy.
Right, it's already at that cusp of 2500, so panic selling if it breaks 2500, as Manish has been mentioning, needs to be taken into consideration. But you have a BPCI also which is down in trade, metal counters trading under pressure, Vedanta, JSW Steel as well as Tata Steel. So these are going to be stocks that we should be focusing on as well. But let's quickly see what market opening is looking like as we speak right now. because it was indicating an start above 11,000, 11,015. So a pretty flattish start is what we're seeing in terms of Nifty 50. Bank Nifty also pretty much on the borderline as we speak, but you still have an Infosys, Eicher Motors, Maruti Suzuki, IT pack like Wipro, Tech Mahindra, which are contributing right now. So again, that positive momentum with regards to where the IT as well as the auto pack is something that we have been watching out for. The pressure building in from a Yes Bank, second consecutive session where the pressure continues. Dr. Reddy's in fact has broken that 2,500 mark. That stock is down 2.5%. Britannia continues to trade under pressure for a second consecutive session. Metal counter is also trading weak, so you have the likes of a Hindalco, Vedanta, JSW Steel, as well as if you talk about a Tata Steel are down and about in trade. Indiabulls Housing also seeing cuts of almost 2%. BPCL, HPCL, IOC, OMC is down and about in trade as well in today's day of trade. Asian Paints is trading under pressure. ITC down in trade, as well as if you pull up an HUL as well. But clearly, the breadth right now is in favor of the bears. If you see in terms of a Nifty 50 goes, interesting moves coming in with regards to Eicher Motors as well as Maruti. There is good support on these names, as well as Infosys as well. Bank Nifty as well clearly skewed towards the negatives. You just have an SBI, Bank of Baroda as well as PNB, which are in the positive terrain. So that's again from the PSU space, the private banking space ruling under pressure. Mid-cap index is also down around 0.2%. And if you see in terms of where the small cap index is concerned, that's also going to give you an interesting move in trade. Overall, pretty flattish as we speak. And CG Power, 20% downtick is what we're seeing. HTIL, a 13% downtick. Capacity Infra, now 9% downtick. AstraZeneca Pharma is seeing a cut of almost around 5 to 6% in trade. Biocon has bounced back in today's session, a 2.5-3% up move coming in with regards to where Biocon is concerned. Overall Realty a 5.5% downtick. Edelweiss Financial continues to trade under pressure. PNB Housing down in trade. ITBI down in trade. Let's pull up NMDC on the screens as well and see what NMDC is also doing in trade, because yesterday we saw cuts of almost 11 to 12%. Today there is a bounce back that's coming in with regards to NMDC as well. 3.5% up move coming in on an NMDC. Apart from that, Future Consumer is another one we're watching out for. So all the Future Group companies have been in focus. Deepak Nitrite is seeing a bounce back of almost 3% on the back of the upgrade by ICRA. United Spirits is up in trade. GM Breweries, United Breweries. So the alcohol space has started to buzz as well today's session. Radico Khaitan, another one which is up 1.5%. We'll need to figure out as to what's brewing with regards to these liquor manufacturers as well. But clearly, if you go to see in terms of individual sectors, Nifty Realty, the top losing sector today with cuts of 1%, followed by metals, media as well as the FMCG pack. And you have IT Auto, which are holding on, but marginal gains of around 0.2 to 0.3% coming on this front. In fact, Amar, let me come to you. Any trades that you are identified taking the opening rates into consideration, because a pretty flattish open is what we've seen in terms of Nifty as well as Bank Nifty, and now the bias is turning negative. Soon we are going to break that 11,000 mark on Nifty 50 yet again, and Bank Nifty is now already down around 40 points.
Yeah, I would say that one stock that one can look at is in the pharma space, and that is Lupin. What we are seeing here is that the stock has been consolidating and has found very strong support around 720-25 odd levels. So this is one stock one can look at because on the weekly charts also, if we look at this stock, it has found the bottom and there is bullish divergence on the chart. So if the stock sustains above 743, 744 odd levels, then it has the potential to rally towards 775, 780 levels. So one can look at that stock.
Right, so that's with regards to where Lupin goes. Berger Paints, that's another one. If you see the open interest addition, that's up almost 10.5%. Fresh shorts that are being taken with regards to where Berger Paints is concerned. Let's pull up Asian Paints on the screens as well and see what that one is doing in trade. Let me come to you, Manish, with regards to Berger Paint as well as Asian Paints. Any strategy or any recommendation on both these counters?
Berger Paint, if you see, we have seen aggressive rally from 320 odd levels to 365, and now we may see a technical pullback around 350 odd levels, but it can be a very good buy around 350. So 350 is a watch out level for Berger Paint. Any pullback around 350 can be a very good buy with a stop loss at 335 and for a positional target from 400 plus.
That's with regards to where Berger Paints is concerned. Let's pull up a Just Dial on the screens as well. Fresh longs that are being taken with regards to Just Dial as we speak. Biocon as well, fresh longs being taken. That stock is up 3.5%. Open interest addition is up almost around 5%. And if you see in terms of Dr. Reddy's, there is that pressure that has been created on a Dr. Reddy's as well, which is one of the top losers in trade. Sun Pharma, however, is playing a catch-up, trading in the positive with gains of around 0.5%. So pretty mixed reaction coming in with regards to pharma majors. Dharmesh, let me come to you with regards to where the pharma pack is concerned. What is the view that you're picking up? Because you have some bit of a catch-up coming in with regards to the mid-cap counters, especially the likes of Anatco Pharma, Biocon, Torrent Pharma, and a lot of newsmakers reacting in their individual capacity on the back of the news that has come in. Overall, what's the structure looking like, and any recommendations?
See, the pharma pack per se is looking very good. If you look at the Q1 numbers, they were a very good set of numbers, though they came on a low base effect. But we think this year, FY20, would be a bottoming out process for all the pharma companies. The reason number one is they have been able to diversify their portfolio very reasonably. So domestic exposure has been increasing on a solid base. At the same time, the US problems is likely getting resolved. So the blended realization has bottomed out there, and from here on the volume will drive the top line growth. US FDA observations, and these are the part and parcel of the pharma pack. So this will keep on happening. That's a regular feature which one has to take into account. But overall, the entire space looks very attractive to us, and I think in the picking order, Aurobindo Pharma remains our top pick, followed by Sun Pharma and Torrent Pharma. So these are the three pharma companies which we are pushing hard to our clients from a long-term investment perspective, if one is willing to hold. So FY21 will be the year when you will see the 20-25% kind of a growth on the EPS front, and at least 30-40% kind of a return can be made on these pharma companies. So a very good investment bite at this juncture.
That's with regards to where the pharma pack is concerned as we speak. But let's just pull up a couple of the FMCG names as well. ITC, HUL, you have Britannia as well, which has been seeing pressure in the last 2 to 3 trading sessions. If you see Britannia as we speak, the stock is down around 3%. Fresh shorts that are being taken on this counter. ITC as well, that has been in focus. In fact, there could be some opportunities that could be emerging with regards to where ITC is concerned. With that, if you can just have a, even for that matter, a Dabur, Marico as well as Nestle on the screens, because no decisive moves that are coming in. But Manish, from the FMCG pack, anything that you would want to recommend?
Nestle look much better. Nestle, it is overall outperforming the entire sector. If you see, Nestle already given a fresh 52-week breakout, and it has crossed the levels of 12,000, which was a strong resistance. Now we may see levels of around 12,500 to 13,000 in Nestle in the upcoming trading sessions. So positional target can be around 13,000. Nestle buy at current levels with a stop loss at 12,000, and for a positional target from 13,000.
Right, so Nestle becomes a top pick coming in, especially with regards to where the FMCG pack goes. But let's just revisit the index as well. We've broken that 11,000 mark already. 10,996 is where Nifty 50 is at. We are down almost around 60 to 65 points with regards to Bank Nifty. 3 PSU banks, Bank of Baroda, SBI as well as PNB, these are the ones which are giving you that positive move. But pressure coming in on the private banks, so Yes Bank, Axis, you have Kotak, HDFC, which are down and about in trade. Dharmesh, let me come to you from the banking perspective as well. Between PSU banks as well as the private banking space, what's the view, and where does your preference lie?
See, as far as private sector banks are concerned, they would remain the outperformer of the market. So any corrections out there in quality names like HDFC Bank, Kotak Bank, or even IndusInd Bank should be lapped up for trading or investment gains. As far as PSU banks are concerned, I think they are undergoing a bottoming out process. So the Q1 numbers were quite encouraging. The slippages were low when the trajectory was good as far as growth are concerned, especially in the retail segment. So they have been catching up, and the fiasco of NBFC is an added advantage for them. The only thing which government has not done till now is the capital infusion. Though they have announced in the budget, if they do it for PSU banks, I think then that will give them elbow room to cater to the growing needs of the retail segment, so that tier 1 capital will be there. So they are sitting on a huge amount of deposits, but they are unable to lend just because of the a lack of tier 1 capital. So I think if that hurdle is cleared, so PSU banks will become a very good buy going forward. So if one is looking for 6 to 9 months kind of a time horizon, I think very handsome gains can be made by investing into PSU banks. Top picks will be SBI, Canara Bank and PNB.
SBI, Canara Bank as well as PNB top picks coming in from the PSU banking space. Amar, coming to you, anything that you would want to recommend from the PSU banking space?
I would say that looking at Bank of Baroda, if we look at Bank of Baroda, what we are seeing here is that the stock is trying to form some sort of support around 99 odd levels. So if the stock sustains above 102 odd levels, then it has a potential to rally towards 107, 108 odd levels.
Right, so that's with regards to Bank of Baroda. Let me pull up Hero Motor, Bajaj Auto as well with an Eicher Motors. All the three two-wheeler companies that are seeing traction in today's day of trade. And with this, if we can just have a TVS motor on the screens as well to see if there is any contribution coming in from this two-wheeler space. Let me come to you, Manish, with regards to these four counters, Hero Motor, Bajaj Auto, Eicher Motors, as well as TVS Motors. There is some strength that we are seeing in terms of today's session. Any intraday strategy?
Hero Motor can be a very good buy around current levels with a stop loss of 2650 and for an intraday target of around 2720 to 2750. And one intraday trade I just would like to recommend is sell call in Raymond aggressive short build up, and it has given a 52-week fresh breakdown. Raymond can be a very good short with a stop loss at 600 and for a short term target, intraday target of around 570 and for a positional target of around 550 below. So Raymond can be a very good short intraday trade.
Right, so Bajaj Auto and short intraday trade in terms of a Raymond, that is something which is coming in as a recommendation. Metal Pack is also trading weak as we speak. So Vedanta, Hindalco, JSW Steel, Tata Steel, that's where the pressure is building in right now. Dharmesh, in terms of where the metal counters are concerned, it's been a pretty volatile ride over the last couple of months. Taking the US-China trade war as well, that's something which is having a bearing on the metal space, especially if you have to take the base metals into consideration. What is the view that you have in terms of these metal names?
See, you rightly pointed out US-China trade war is a worry for the metal pack, but it's on the backdrop of a global slowdown. So let's not forget the fact that if Mr. Trump is saying that 100 basis point kind of a rate cut should be done in US, which GDP is growing, decent kind of growth. So that means he is foreseeing a good amount of slowdown in the global economy, and 100 basis point kind of a rate cut is very, very alarming from the bond yield point of view. Yesterday 10-year bond yield closed at 1.55. That itself is a big alarm bell. So my own sense is that, and if you look at 3 to 6 months performance, it has been a lower and lower highs kind of trading scenario which all these metal packs are seeing, and same has been reflected in the earnings which they are updating. So any rally which is there, it should be used to sell, and we stay away from metal packs. I don't think this year in FY20 will give you any positive yields if you hold or invest into metal packs. So that is the reckoning which one has to accept.
That's with regards to metal pack is concerned. And in the midst of all this, you still have gold, which is emerging one of the best asset classes right now. Taking cues from there, let's pull up a Muthoot as well as Manappuram Finance, because in spite of the liquidity crisis, in spite of the ooze that the NBFC space has been ruling under, you still have these two stocks which have emerged as winners amongst their basket. Coming to you, Manish, with regards to Manappuram Finance as well as Muthoot Finance today, yes, there is that pressure that is coming in, but do you see opportunities to look at these stocks, and if yes, at what levels?
Muthoot Finance looks much better than Manappuram Finance. If you see Muthoot Finance, there is a strong base price formation around 600 odd levels. So Muthoot Finance can be a very good buy around 600 odd levels. So any pullback around 600 can be a very good buy with a stop loss at 585 and for a short term target from 640 plus. And once it breaks 640, then we may see around levels of around 670 to 700 as well. So Muthoot Finance can be a very good buy around 600 odd levels.
Right, a good buy on a Muthoot Finance at levels of around 600. So buy on dip is the strategy that we should be watching out for. Let's pull up a Yes Bank on the screen. So 4% downtick is what we are seeing right now. So yes, Axis, Kotak as well as ICICI Bank. Let's pull up all these four banking majors from the private banking space. There is that pressure. Amar, from these four private names, any value emerging or any short strategy where you are seeing pressure?
Yeah, I would say Yes Bank continues to be under extreme pressure because earlier 80 was a crucial, 78-80 was a crucial support zone, so that has been taken out, and the stock seems to be headed lower towards 45-50 odd levels, because that's the next technical support zone. As far as buying in the private sector bank, ICICI is one can look at, but currently it's consolidating. But what has happened in ICICI is that it has formed a very strong support coming around 395, 400 odd levels, but it's unable to breach and sustain above 425 odd levels, because sustaining above 425 odd levels, the stock has a potential to rally towards 448, 450 levels. So it's a range play with a positive bias.
NMDC longs are there, na? Right, so that's with regards to where the banking counters are concerned. Let's just pull up NMDC on the screens right now. That's something Manish has been highlighting. Manish, what are you picking up on NMDC? Because currently, if you go to see in the cash market, the stock is down around 0.6%. And if you see the open interest edition, that's up almost 3.5%.
NMDC, if you see, it made a high of 94, and then again we have seen selling pressure started. So NMDC can be a very good short trade with a stop loss of 94, which is today's high, and we may see a target of around 84, 85 odd levels. So NMDC can be a very good short trade, stop loss at 94, and for a short-term target from 84 odd levels.
Right, and with this, anything that you're picking up on a BHEL as well, because the open interest edition is pretty strong. It's almost 11% what we are seeing right now.
BHL, if you see, the overall trend is downtrend, and we have seen aggressive shorts in BHL. 50 was a very strong support, and it has already broken that support. So now we may see levels of around 40 or 42. So BHL can be a very good short with a stop loss at 51, and for a positional target from 40 to 40 odd levels.
Right, so that's a continued short strategy coming on a BHL, but NMDC is going to be an interesting one because we opened up in the positive, and as Manish has been highlighting, fresh shorts that are being created on this counter as well. Let's pull up a Just Dial on the screens as well. Overall, Amar, any strategy with regards to where Just Dial goes?
Yeah, looking at Just Dial, what we are seeing is that the long-term trend for the stock remains positive. And on the daily charts, the stock seems to be forming a very strong base around 650 odd levels, because the recent low was 665. But till the time we don't see the stock consistently trading above 700 odd levels, the stock is in for some consolidation, with 650 to act as very strong support zone.
Right, so that's with regards to where Just Dial is concerned. So NMDC, a short candidate, Raymond as well as short candidate, both these counters that Manish has highlighted in terms of today's session. So watch out for these trades pretty closely. But apart from that, let's pull up a couple of tire names as well, because if there is that upward momentum that's coming in with regards to the OEMs, your ancillary names that could be in focus as well. So Apollo Tire, JK Tire, you have the likes of an MRF. MRF, however, is seeing some smart moves, but see at majority of them trading under pressure. Dharmesh, with regards to where tire stocks are concerned, as well as if you have to look at OEMs as well, because one stock which has stopped catching everyone's eye is a Motherson Sumi, because the kind of exposure that they have with regards to where the European markets are concerned. Indian markets, though, is still a small portion from the overall business. That counter has corrected quite a bit in terms of Motherson Sumi if you have to look at a one-year chart on this one. What's the sense that you have, because pressures are expected to continue? The kind of capex spends that they have on the annual, that's something which is going to hurt them, because realizations and utilizations are going to be under pressure. 68% is the fall that we've already seen on this counter. What would your view be from a fundamental perspective? Are you seeing further pressure?
Yeah, I am seeing further pressure in all the auto ancillary space, be it tire or OEM manufacturers. I don't think this is going to settle down fast, because see, the stock price may have corrected 50-60%, but so is the earnings, which have corrected by 40-50%, and if it corrects further, so the multiples which we were discussing earlier remains the same. So 10 PE multiple of 10 rupees kind of a EPS, 100 rupees stock price can still be 10 PE multiple if stock price is 10 rupees and earnings is 1 rupee. So that is the kind of scenario we are getting into, and our own dealer checks suggest that there's a huge pressure on all the OEM manufacturers in auto ancillary space. So trading bounces can still be there. I am not denying and ruling out that fact that you may have some trading bounces playing out. But on a long-term perspective, I mean, for next two quarters, so things remain very difficult and murkier for all the auto ancillary space. So better is to, avoid it and have small trades. It's not an investment bet as of now.
Right, so that's with regards to Motherson Sumi. In fact, if you see from the F&O side of it as well, a lot of reversals that are happening in terms of trading bets. Arvind, that stock is down 4.5% right now. The open interest addition is up, it's almost 11%. United Breweries also, which did see good moves, is now under pressure. Same is the scenario with a Britannia. Similar is the scenario with the Tata Motors as well. Manish, if you could just help us and the viewers understand this as to what's happening.
The positions are reversing. If you see United Breweries, it opened gap up around 1320 odd levels. It made a high of 1328 and now it is below 1300. 1300, which was a very good support, now it has broken that support and now UBL can be a very good shot with a stop loss at today's high 1328 and for a positional target from 1250 below.
Right, so that's with United Breweries. And what about the Tata Motors as well?
Tata Motors, if you see 115, 116 is a very strong support and 124, 125 is a strong resistance. So Tata Motor currently it is on a no trade zone, it is in a trading in a range.
Right, so no trade zone with regards to Tata Motors. Arvind, also similar scenario where the reversals have started to come in. 14% is the kind of open interest addition that we are seeing with regards to where Arvind Limited goes. The stock is down almost around 4 to 5% in trade. And beyond that, if you see a couple of other names that we should be looking at, Dr. Reddy's as well, that stock is down almost 1.5%. Yes Bank, the cuts have deepened further, 4 to 5% downtick coming in. SAIL also trading under pressure with cuts of almost around 2% that we are seeing with regards to where SAIL goes, and the Indiabulls Housing, fresh shots that are being taken on this one as well. Taking the housing finance as well as the NBFC space into consideration, Dharmesh, what's the view that you have?
See, one has to be very stock specific and selective as far as NBFC and HFCs are concerned. Still, I believe that HFCs are better bet in NBFC space. So their LIC Housing Finance does merit a buy and along with Canfin Home. So these are the two counters which is looking good at present valuation multiples where they are trading, and the way the government has been pushing up affordable housing. So most of the people who are unable to get loans to bank are going to these NBFCs to get a home loan, and they are likely to do good business going forward. So they look attractive. As far as pure NBFC plays are concerned, I think only Bajaj Finance stands out. So any correction out there or subsequent correction it is happening, that is one stock which one can still look at buying. Other than that, most of them are into problem, and there is a huge liquidity problem with most of them as well. So those counters should be avoided.
Those counters should be avoided, especially the ones facing the liquidity pressure. Amar, coming to you, any trades that you are identifying, taking the current situation right now, because you have Bank Nifty which is now down over 100 points. The pressure has started to build up on the broader markets as well, with the mid cap and the small cap index which are down almost around 0.4% to almost around 0.5%, and you have Nifty 50 which is well below that 11,000 mark now.
Yeah, I would say that I would go with Hindustan Unilever, which I had spoken earlier, because in spite of the market sell-off, the stock is holding firm. So any pullback towards 1830, 35, ideally that can be a very good buy with a stop loss of 1797 and a target of 1895 in the short term.
Right, so HUL, that's a trade that has been identified right now. Dharmesh, any recommendations?
Yeah, only Lawson and Tubro, I think from the infra space that stands out. So we are recommending that to our clients, and we think that there's a value out there. And having regard to the fact that though it has been unfortunate, all the floods and which has happened out there, but again reconstruction, infra building, civic amenities building will have to be done, and L&T stands out to catch all the orders out there. So I think a deep value has emerged after the recent correction in stock price of L&T, so that one should buy and hold.
Right, so L&T, that's a recommendation coming in from the fundamental side. Manish, from your end, any other trades that you are identifying?
Chola Finance can be a very good short. Chola Finance has broken a 200-day moving average, which was around 263, and now currently trading around 255 to 56 odd levels. So Chola Finance can be a very good short with a stop loss at 261, and for a short-term target from 245. So we are expecting an intraday fall in Chola Finance till 245 odd levels.
That's it. Cholamandalam Finance, that's a call that's being identified from here on as well. But thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, Manish, Amar, Dharmesh, for joining us on the show with your trading calls and strategies. But the way markets are performing right now, cuts have deepened further with regards to Bank Nifty, over 100 points. You have the mid-cap and the small-cap index as well. Cuts of almost around 0.4% to 0.5%, and Nifty 50, which is trading at levels of around 10,980, well below that 11,000 mark. Let's see if the pressure continues. But you have IT as well as the auto pack, which continues to be on the forefront as we speak. Clearly, the two-wheeler space also, which is pretty much showing some bit of strength. But let's quickly slip into a short break. Once we're back, we'll discuss the progress on the resolution on back loans with VG Kannan, the Chief Executive at IBA. Sanjay Gupta of HCL Technologies will be joining in as well in the company's expansion plans, and Dharmesh Bhatia of Emirates NBT will also be joining in to give his take on the gold rally which sees the yellow metal at the all-time highs.